Okay. Well, we touched on this a little bit earlier. What's your take on endurance athletes adopting an eat-stop-eat lifestyle?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for competition purposes, you're a little bit different, because in your state, you're really looking at fuel. Your sport is fuel-driven, right? So, how long you can fuel yourself generally dictates how long you can go. So, during the training phase, if you're trying to lose a little bit of weight to improve your running economy, that sort of thing, I have no issues with it. Even during the training state, just to see how well you can run on an empty stomach, no problem. My main thing is that on the times when you're actually competing, do what you normally do. I don't care if you're an endurance athlete, if you're a power athlete, if you're a hockey player, soccer player, football player. On the day of a major competition, don't change anything. It's just sort of common sense. And it's goal-driven, too. I mean, if the goal of Eat-Stop-Eat is to help people lose weight and slightly improve their health through nutrition, well, if your main goal is to run longer, well, that's your goal, right? You can work on things like weight loss and changing the way you eat on off seasons. But when you're actually competing, always keep your goals in mind. If your goal is to run longer and farther, do whatever it takes to be able to accomplish that. So if Eat-Stop-Eat doesn't work during that time, don't worry about it. But if it does add a benefit to you, if you're able to run better without food in your stomach, then go for it. Generally, my thought there is it always has to be strict with what your goals are.
Okay. Another question.
Yep.
If I fasted for 24 hours, will my body go into starvation mode? You hear about this starvation mode theory, meaning the next time I eat, will it be stored immediately as fat?
Right. Starvation mode is actually one giant myth. There is it's a prevailing concept that was blown out of proportion and then, I'll use the harsh term, bastardized really by the bodybuilding industry. It's a way to get you to eat multiple times a day and take products multiple times.
Sure, because it's important to iron this out, because so many people talk about starvation mode that I come across, and people still are thinking about starvation mode, like their thoughts are in like the Iron Ages at the moment.
Exactly. They've been told things like your metabolism will slow down after over 2 hours. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
They've been told that your fat-burning enzymes actually decrease, which is ridiculous, since obviously you're burning more fat while you're fasting. That's simply not possible. Your fat storage enzymes increase, which again doesn't make any sense. A lot of it is just people who shouldn't be interpreting science, attempting to interpret science, and that causes a lot of this. You misunderstand what scientists and academics are trying to say, and a lot of it is just plain out lying. Not all of it is lying, but majority of it is. Other concepts are even when you're not eating, you actually store more fat, which really, really confuses me how that could possibly happen. How can someone even understand that? I've come across one fitness person in my entire time writing who actually had a decent definition of starvation mode that I could agree with. And he said that starvation mode in his books would simply be the fact that after not eating for a long period of time, you crave food more. And that's one I can live with. There, done. But the rest of them, the ones that talk about metabolic slowdowns and muscle wasting, and it's just not backed by science. It's what I consider to be scaremongering to get people to buy products or books. It's actually quite dastardly if you think about it. It's really, really trying to scare people into a certain style of eating. When you look at the research, you realize that we can take brief periods of breaks from eating without any of these consequences. And certainly, if we can handle 24 hours, we can handle 3 or 4. It's not a large deal. And we can look at proof all over the world. It doesn't just have to come from scientific journals. We can look at the fact that most cultures eat very, very differently than what the fitness industry would like us to eat. There's a lot of cultures who eat once or twice a day. They're thriving cultures. There's some cultures who eat multiple times a day. They're also thriving. We can get away with an amazing adaptability to the human body. I mean, it's not as if we don't eat every 4 or 5 hours, we're just going to shrink away, our metabolism will slow down, and, that's the end of it. The minute we come out of starvation mode, we'll be 700-pound monsters. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Definitely, I have to definitely agree with you. So just finally, Brad, what would you say to folk who are perhaps a little bit scared or sceptical about trying out Eat-Stop-Eat?
Right. Excellent question, by the way, because it's sort of the main thing, is that if you're willing to embark on a 8-week, 12-week calorie restriction diet, you're a very brave person. It's very difficult. And if you can do that, if you can go through the mental anguish of 12 weeks of avoiding the foods that you really like, then certainly you can handle a 24-hour fast. The main benefit is after 24 hours, you're done. You've turned off a light switch, so to say. You said, okay, for the next 24 hours, I'm not eating. Switch off. And then at 24-hour point, switch on. And the amazing thing about that 24-hour point, which is unlike any other diet, is at the end of those 24 hours, you have a sense of accomplishment. You've done it. And once you've done one 24-hour fast, they don't get harder. They're all the same. Sure, you're going to, just like any other day in your life, you're going to have crappy days and great days, but you're going to have the occasional crappy fast, a great fast. But it's not like the diet becomes harder or more restrictive, etc. So if you can handle a little technical difficulty there, I apologize.
That's all right, Noah.
If you can handle a 24-hour fast, you've done it. There's no greater sense of accomplishment in dieting than the very first time you finish a 24-hour fast. You think to yourself, well, that wasn't hard. That was almost simple. And I get to the point where people almost kind of look at me and they're like, that's what I have to do? I'm like, yeah, that's it. And just do that, and then eat the way you normally eat. You're like, okay, so I don't have to worry about macronutrient ratios and buying specific types of meat and combining it with supplements. I'm like, no, just what you just did, do that once or twice a week and you're golden. And it really blows people's minds. So if you're wanting to lose weight and you're preparing yourself to do a strict diet, just try this first. Because if it works for you, if 24 hours wasn't a big deal, and the secret you thought beat is, and I'll give it away right now, is the whole 24 hours is split between 2 days. You sleep through the hardest part of it. It doesn't get easier.
Yeah.
So if you can pull that off, then why would you want to do the other way? Why would you want to look at endless days of watching your friends eat normal food and you're eating chicken and broccoli for breakfast? It just doesn't make sense to me. Try the easiest way. If it doesn't suit you, then sure, go for the crazy 6 meals a day, calorie restricted, nothing but broccoli and tuna diet. I have no issues with it. It's still calorie restriction, so it'll work. It's just a lot more miserable. So that's my basic sort of spiel to anybody who's kind of interested in Eat Stop Eat. 24 hours. Give it a try. See how you like it.
Excellent. Okay, that's it from me. My thanks to Brad Pilon for sharing his wisdom with us. Brad, is there anywhere the listeners can find out more about you and Eat Stop Eat? Yeah, absolutely. To find out more about Eat Stop Eat, it's simply eatstopeat.com, all one word. And to find out more about me, it's bradpilon.com, which is Brad and then P as in Peter, ILON as in Nancy.com. And that's about it. Everything you could want to know about my philosophy behind nutrition is on one of those two sites. Okay, that's it. Hopefully that's cleared up a few diet mysteries that have been going around. I think the underlying message from Brad is that Eat Stop Eat is a great way to burn body fat without compromising your health and should be considered as part of your fat loss plan. And if you haven't read Eat Stop Eat yet, then I strongly recommend you do. You really won't have to read another nutrition book ever again. Brad's written it very clearly. He doesn't bamboozle you with science, and it really does make a lot of sense. My thanks to Brad again. This has been Sam Winkworth from evolutionfitnessnutrition.com and samwinkworth.ning.com. Take care.